There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in. Good morning, my beautiful people. I wanted to tell you about one of my most favorite quotes in the entire world that has helped me move forward at times when I feel like I really don't want to. And last week in the podcast, I talked about my experience at Secret Knock and shared some of my biggest takeaways from that. And while I was at Secret Knock, I was reminded of this quote. And this quote comes from a talk given at General Conference by our prophet, Russell M. Nelson. If you guys don't know, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am very active, born and raised, and I absolutely love everything that I have learned, and I absolutely believe in applying it in a way that's best for me right now. There are parts of church that I don't absolutely agree with, and I'm learning how to apply what's right for me at this time and also help my children do that as well. But this is a quote from Elder Nelson's talk that I have really, really loved and has helped me move forward in a lot of different ways in my life. I'm probably going to get the story wrong, but it's on the internet. You can go and look it up. But this was when Elder Nelson, he is a heart surgeon. He did this in the past. And when he was young in his career, he told the story about how he had done a surgery on a young girl and the girl did not survive. And a couple years later, the exact same family came to him and said, our next daughter is also having heart problems and we would like you to do the surgery. And he was like, what? Like, your last daughter died when I was doing the surgery. And they said that we trust you. We want you to do it. So he did the surgery again. And the next daughter did not survive either. And he came home and was crying like a baby on the floor. And his wife saw him and she was surprised. And when you hear her response, you're like, how in the world could you say that to somebody? Like, I think, put yourself in Elder Nelson's shoes. It's like, yeah, you'd probably feel the same of like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. And that's exactly what he told his wife. And he said, I'm done. I'm not doing this ever again. And she said, if you quit now, someone else will have to painfully learn what you already know. And I think that's so powerful. And I also think, like, as harsh as it might seem in that moment, it is 100% true. And if you look more into Elder Nelson's surgical history of all the things he was able to do, it was very life-changing in very positive ways for the people that he worked on. And I think that there's times of doubt where we feel the same way, where it's like, I'm done. We just forget. We forget about all of the good things. Like, there's something about our trials that make us feel like this is the end for us. And I wish that it was easier for us to take the weight of good things just at the same rate as, the bad things, because you can get 100 great comments and you can get one negative comment and you can just fixate on it. And I'm feeling like I'm at a time in my life where I'm reminded of how important it is to really reiterate how good things are and how good we've done, because one thing seems to have the power to drag us down. But I keep saying that if you quit now, someone else will have to painfully learn what you already know. Hey listeners, the message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in.
Recently, I made a video and I probably even recorded a podcast about it, breaking cycles. And there are ways that my parents parented me that I don't feel like benefited me in a healthy way. And I've worked to break the cycles to make sure I am parenting my children better in certain aspects. And sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes you think you're doing the best, but your kids might still, have a problem with you. I'm happy to say my kids they're pretty well behaved, and I feel like we have a really good relationship, but there is every once in a while, where one of my daughters like rolls her eyes and she's like, you can tell she's not happy with me. And every time I want to throw in the towel, I remember that if you quit now, someone else will have to painfully learn what you already know. And as you're listening to this podcast, that you can relate to this. I know that we all have times where we're just like, I just think I'm done. I just think I'm not cut out for this. And sometimes we don't have a choice. Like, we have to be cut out for it. Like, if you had a kid, sorry, you're a parent no matter what. I don't think it's going to be that easy to just offload your kid to somebody else, but you are cut out for it, whether you like it or not. I think that if you remind yourself, like, yeah, there's things that I've learned, there's things that I've tried to do. And if I choose to throw in the towel, then who's going to break the cycle next? Well, you're going to leave it to your kid. And I think that we all know better. And if you're listening to a podcast about accountability, you want better for yourself. There are times where I definitely want to quit, where I'm just like, I think I'm done. I've had a good run. I've had a good run. But this quote always brings me back to, no, I just got to keep going. I have to keep going, because if we quit, somebody else is going to have the same problem. And you guys know how in social media for a while, it's probably an old trend now, but how they were like, okay, do you want trauma with your parents now, or do you want to pass it on? And people are like, double it and pass it on. And they're just passing it down from generation to generation, because if you don't break the cycles, then it does get worse. Like, it just compounds and it just makes it harder. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that puts off something that can be fixed just to give it to somebody else, because I've been the recipient of somebody else putting something off and not handling it. So if you're going through something tough in your life, I want to tell you the exact same thing and remind you, if you quit now, someone else will have to painfully learn what you already know. And I think that it's a really powerful reminder to just keep going. So if you need help with this, if there's anything I can do to be in your corner to remind you of that and to be part of your support team, then definitely let me know. Not everything that we correspond about needs to be business or growth. Sometimes it's just like, hey, this is where I'm sitting at right now, and I can't go up, but I refuse to go down. Then let me know. I'd be happy to support you through that.
Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.